Lenny Wilkens, the legendary figure whose name became synonymous with grace, intelligence, and leadership in basketball, has passed away at the age of 88. His family confirmed that the beloved Hall of Famer died peacefully, surrounded by loved ones, marking the end of a life that had left an indelible mark on the sport he helped shape. The cause of death has not been publicly disclosed, but those who knew Wilkens understood that his life story was not defined by how it ended, but by the countless lives he touched, the players he molded, and the legacy he built over nearly 6 decades in the game. To the basketball world, Lenny Wilkens was far more than a coach or a player. He was a living embodiment of the sport's evolution, from its gritty early days to the global spectacle it is today. Born Leonard Randolph Wilkens on October 28, 1937, in Brooklyn, New York, his journey to basketball greatness was far from preordained. Growing up in a working-class neighborhood in Bedford-Stuyvesant, Wilkens developed a deep sense of discipline and humility early on. His mother, Henrietta, was a strong and guiding presence in his life, raising him largely on her own after his father's early passing. It was in the playgrounds of Brooklyn that the young Lenny first fell in love with basketball, a love that would carry him across decades and define the very course of his existence. He learned the game not through formal coaching or elite programs, but through instinct, observation, and an unrelenting desire to understand its rhythm. Those who watched him play as a teenager said his game was different. Not flashy, but deliberate, controlled, and thoughtful. Every move had purpose. That sense of purpose became his trademark. After a standout high school career, Wilkens earned a scholarship to Providence College, where he quickly became one of the most celebrated players in school history. At Providence, he was known for his calm demeanor, sharp court vision, and ability to make everyone around him better. His senior year was particularly remarkable, leading the Friars to the 1959 National Invitation Tournament semifinals and earning All-American honors. It was there that scouts began to realize just how special he was, a player who could score, pass, defend, and lead with equal finesse. In 1960, the St. Louis Hawks selected him with the 6th overall pick in the NBA draft, beginning a professional career that would forever intertwine his name with basketball royalty. Wilkens entered the NBA at a time when the league was still finding its identity. The 1960s were a defining era. Bill Russell and Wilt Chamberlain were dominating the paint. Oscar Robertson was rewriting the rules for guards, and the sport was beginning to integrate into mainstream American culture. Amidst that, Lenny Wilkens quietly emerged as one of the league's most cerebral players. Over 15 seasons with the St. Louis Hawks, Seattle Supersonics, Cleveland Cavaliers, and Portland Trail Blazers, Wilkens built a reputation as one of the smartest point guards to ever step onto the court. He wasn't the flashiest player, but he was often the most reliable. His ability to read the floor, anticipate plays, and orchestrate offense made him a coach's dream, and eventually, a coach's rival. By the time his playing days were over, Wilkens had earned 9 All-Star selections and was widely regarded as one of the finest point guards of his generation. But what truly separated him was his basketball IQ. Teammates often said Wilkens saw the game 3 steps ahead of everyone else. He could control tempo, shift momentum, and make decisions in real time that would stump even the best defensive minds. In an era that celebrated scorers, Wilkens found his glory in assists and orchestration. He saw the court as a chessboard, and he was always thinking 2 moves ahead. In 1969, the Seattle Supersonics offered him a unique challenge, serving as both a player and a coach. That dual role, demanding as it was, suited him perfectly. Wilkens became a teacher while still in uniform, guiding younger teammates through his calm, strategic approach to the game. He led by example, never shouting, never demeaning, but always inspiring. Under his leadership, Seattle slowly evolved from a struggling expansion team into a legitimate contender. When he eventually retired as a player in 1975, he seamlessly transitioned into full-time coaching, and his second act proved to be just as remarkable as his first. As a coach, Lenny Wilkens was a master of balance. He was calm under pressure, always emphasizing teamwork and discipline over ego and chaos. Players trusted him because he had walked in their shoes. He understood the emotional and physical toll of the game, the struggles behind the fame, and the sacrifices that came with greatness. He wasn't a coach who relied on intimidation. Instead, he motivated through respect. Many players have since said that being coached by Wilkens was like being guided by a wise elder who could see potential in you that you hadn't yet recognized. In 1979, Wilkens achieved what had long eluded Seattle, the franchise's first and only NBA championship. Leading the Supersonics to victory over the Washington Bullets, he delivered not just a title, but a sense of identity to an entire city. Seattle became a basketball town because of him. His name became synonymous with excellence and loyalty. Even decades later, long after the Sonics were controversially relocated to Oklahoma City in 2010, fans still revered Wilkens as the godfather of Seattle basketball. He remained involved in local community programs, charitable efforts, and initiatives to bring an NBA team back to the city. He wasn't just a basketball hero, he was a civic icon. Throughout his career, Wilkens coached 2,487 games in the NBA, a record that still stands. His longevity was a testament to his adaptability. He coached across multiple eras, from the physical battles of the 1970s to the fast-paced, media-driven modern game. In every era, his teams reflected his personality, disciplined, unselfish, and composed. He became the first coach in NBA history to reach 1,000 wins and finished with 1,332 victories, ranking among the most successful coaches the game has ever known. To this day, those numbers speak not only to his brilliance, but to his endurance. Few could sustain excellence across decades the way he did. His achievements didn't end there. Wilkens also left an indelible mark on international basketball. He served as an assistant coach for the legendary 1992 U.S. Olympic Dream Team, a roster so iconic that it transformed basketball into a global phenomenon. That team, featuring Michael Jordan, Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, and other legends, dominated the Olympics and redefined the sport's global reach. For Wilkens, being part of that historic group was both an honor and a validation of everything he'd devoted his life to. 4 years later, he led the U.S. team as head coach at the 1996 Atlanta Olympics, once again guiding them to gold. To be a Hall of Famer as a player, a coach, and a contributor to the Dream Team was a feat no one else had achieved, a trifecta of basketball immortality that only underscored his influence. NBA. Commissioner Adam Silver called Wilkens one of the game's most respected ambassadors. And it was no exaggeration. He represented the best of what basketball could be: strategy, humility, and unity. His demeanor stood in stark contrast to the fiery temperaments of some of his contemporaries. Wilkens believed that greatness wasn't just about winning, but about how you carried yourself while doing it. His players often described him as a mentor for life, not just for basketball. He instilled values of patience, preparation, and persistence that stayed with them long after their playing days were over. In the later years of his career, Wilkens took on coaching roles with several franchises, including the Cleveland Cavaliers, Atlanta Hawks, Toronto Raptors, and New York Knicks. Each stop carried its own challenges, but Wilkens approached every team with the same professionalism that had defined his entire career. He didn't care about fame or personal accolades. He cared about teaching the game the right way. Even when his team struggled, his players spoke of the dignity he brought to the locker room and the lessons he imparted about leadership, humility, and resilience.